Fontaine cukup bagus juga ya. Dan selamat datang di channel Lavalier. Pada video kali ini gua akan melakukan quest Genshin Impact, yaitu Mawar dan Senapan. Langsung saja menuju quest. Ikuti target. Jadi teleport saja ya. Nah, gimana tuh?
Seriously? But Mr. Morris, I don't understand, sir. How can you only be telling me this now?
I'm afraid that there's nothing really I can do.
Lah mau melakukan apa lagi?
My hands are tied.
But what about my film?
Lah bikin film.
Well, I'm afraid you have to come up with something on your own.
Ya aduh, gimana sih kau cari cara sendiri?
Same goes for this film festival.
Tiba-tiba orang itu pergi.
Oh.
Hey, isn't that Xavier? So he's back in Fontaine now. Xavier!
Oh, why, if it isn't the dear traveler and Paimon. I really didn't expect to bump into you here at this time.
Lama tak jumpa.
Well, I was doing just fine until I received some terrible news just now. The investor I was working with for my upcoming film has
Buset, gimana tuh?
and is no longer able to provide the promised amount of funds.
Can't you just find a different investor?
Nah, kan bisa cari yang lain.
Unfortunately, that's not how it works.
Lah terus harus gimana lagi?
To the Fontanalia Film Festival, stipulating that I cannot work with any other investors until the festival is finished.
The Fontanalia Film Festival? What's that?
Oh, is this your first time participating in Fontaine's Fontanalia
Ya,
Film
memang
Festival?
baru pertama
Then
kali
I'll
sih.
fill you in.
Main Genshin aja baru sekarang.
The Fontanalia Festival was established to commemorate the legendary Loch Knights, who went on a quest to search for the Oceanids.
Oh, jadi seperti itu ya.
The holiday is deeply connected to the founding of Fontaine, as well as its unique laws and trials. It's one of the most important festivals for this nation.
But what's with that weird expression on your face? It's like you're trying really hard to remember something.
I was just trying to recall the exact description from the books, in order to avoid any unnecessary arguments over semantics. I usually try to recite things straight from the source.
Well, either way, Paimon thinks she gets it now. It's just like the Windbloom Festival in Mondstadt, and the Lantern Rite in Lilith.
Nah, mungkin hampir sama ya.
Yes, those are festivals of a similar variety. Who doesn't like a good festival? And just like
Pastinya
those
lah ya, lebih bagus
Fontaine
kalau
will hold
ada
up
perayaan.
events around this time each year. To commemorate the Loch Knights, people will imitate them by putting on special costumes.
Buset,
raising golden
pakai
cups
kostum
and
meniru
going
penampilan
for
mereka.
water. But a few years ago, Lady
Udah
Forrest
kayak
started to find
Halloween
the water
aja ya.
drab, and so decided to change the part about pure water to sweets.
Really doesn't
Lah
seem
malah
like
jadi makanan manis.
The whole thing seems more akin to a carnival now, and it's quite popular among the kids. Every year you can hear a bunch of them saying, "Trial or treat."
Cobaan atau camilan?
Oh, that sounds pretty fun. But how did
Ya lumayan lah ya.
festival you mentioned?
Yes,
Nah, apa
here's
itu
I'm
hubungannya
straight off
dengan
topic.
film
I
buatan
just got
lu?
too excited after seeing you. Let me get back to the point. The Fontanalia Film Festival is an event proposed by the Fontaine Film Association this year. Now that film technology has matured as a medium, it's the perfect time to introduce more people to the art form. During this time, people may submit films to be evaluated, and the entry with the highest score will be given the Farina Award by the association.
Malah jadi kayak lomba ya.
The Farina Award. You know, after the Hydro Archon. They coined it while Lady Farina was still in power, but even though things have changed, no one has made any motion to update the name. Perhaps everyone still thinks of it as a pretty appropriate name. Even though she isn't the Hydro Archon any longer, Lady Farina is still Fontaine's superstar. Anyone with eyes can see the way she shines on the stage.
Alright, guess the name does work pretty well when you
Nah
put it
kan,
that way.
cocok-cocok aja lah ya.
Oh, but who would have guessed there'd be an issue with the funding? How will I ever explain this to Miss Chiori? Not to say all the other actors who traveled all the way here from
Buset,
Indonesia.
ada yang datang jauh-jauh dari Inazuma. Padahal gua belum kesana sih.
Chiori? Sounds familiar. Where have we heard that name before?
Dia yang buka toko baju di Court of Fontaine.
Yes, that's her. I asked her to oversee the event's art direction, including the design of the actors' costumes and appearances.
Oh, Paimon remembers now. Navia said that her clothes were designed by Chiori, and Kirara's outfit too.
How to describe her?
Jadi
she
dia
tends to
yang
be pretty
desainnya.
direct and can be very forceful when it comes to dealing
Buset, orangnya
The fashion world in
belak-belakan.
Fontaine has dubbed her the
Kadang
thundering
suka memaksa
seamstress.
juga.
Her remarkable designs have led many Fontainians to become very interested in Inazuma. Anyway, Chiori is acquainted with all the actors I've invited from Inazuma. Without her help, I don't think I would have been able to get such an international cast for the film. She really is a kind soul.
Who are the actors from Inazuma? Do we know them?
Why don't the two of you accompany me to the Aquabus station to welcome them? Judging from
Nah,
the time,
langsung lah ya
the
kita
Aquabus should be
bertemu
arriving shortly.
dengan siapa
Chiori will
lagi
be
ini?
waiting to meet me there as well.
Derak, senapan, memecah keheningan. Selanjutnya bagaimana ini? Buset animasinya. Jadi orang ini. Buset, itu sepatu bentuknya agak lain ya.
Miss Chiori?
Jadi ini orangnya.
Your talk with the investor sure went fast. The Aquabus hasn't even arrived yet. Oh? And who are they?
Allow me to introduce you. This is the Traveler and Paimon.
Pleased to meet you.
Likewise, we've heard that
Salam
Chiori
kenal.
is a skilled seamstress, so it's a real pleasure to finally meet you in person.
Bajunya Navia bagus sekali.
Why, thank you. I strove to create an outfit that matched her high social station as the demoiselle. So tell me, what happened? I can tell the conversation didn't go quite as expected.
Lah dia udah tahu aja.
Well, it's like this.
Nah, gimana tuh?
Ugh.
I know, Chiori, you don't have to say it. You did remind me that this investor was a little bit sketchy.
Jadi dia sudah tahu yang satu ini agak kurang beres.
Yes, there's no doubt about that.
But how could I pass it up? He offered me twice as much as the others.
Yadu mau kasih dana 2 kali lipat dibanding yang lain.
And therein lies the problem.
Scam, yadu.
Yes,
Mau
but just put
aja
yourself in my
ditipu.
shoes. After obtaining such an excellent script, it's only natural that I would want to make the most of the film. The budgets that the others had proposed were nowhere near enough. It's difficult to
Buset, dana yang lain malah kurang cukup.
Don't be sad, Xavier. We might be able to help scrounge up some more together for you.
Lah tiba-tiba bantu kumpulin duit.
Oh, thank you, Paimon. That means a lot to me. But the cost of the film is staggering. I'm afraid that any more we can scrounge together in a short amount of time won't even be able to cover the actors' fees.
Nah, gimana tuh? Yadu ya.
We need to move on. What's happened has already happened, and there's no changing it. But now's not the time to give up.
What? You're saying that you have a plan?
No, that's not what I mean.
Jadi rencana apa?
The actors I recommended aren't just after Mora after all.
Terus aktornya butuh apa? Masa dikasih angin ya? Nggak mungkin lah ya. Dan gamenya masih loading. Selanjutnya bagaimana ini? Lah siapa itu?
Really? Then where do you live? We Malazines live in Marcy Village. The only way
Oh,
to get is from
jadi
underwater.
karakter dari Inazuma.
Oh, you must be pretty tired after work every day, right? I mean, you have to swim all that way just to go home.
We are so thoughtful. But some Malazines choose to live in the court of Fontaine because it's so much more convenient.
Ya pastinya lah ya, lebih mudah kemana-mana naik kapal ini.
Oh, we've arrived. But I haven't even finished chatting with Abel yet.
Dah nyampe aja lagi ya.
Also enjoyed Abel's introductions to Fontaine along the way. Everything you described was so clear and detailed that we can't help but want to hear more.
Thank you so much. I'm usually working here on the Sakura bus, so I hope I'll have the chance to see you again. There are still many more places I'd like to introduce to you.
Nah, ketemu juga.
Fontaine.
Chiori, you sure have changed a lot. This is the first time we've seen you since you left Inazuma.
I haven't realized it's been so long. I was in such a rush when I left that I didn't even get to say goodbye.
Thank you for extending the invitation, Mr. Xavier. I'm looking forward to a fruitful trip here in Fontaine.
It's an honor to have the head of the Kamisato clan visit us.
So they are who you meant when you said you had actors coming from Inazuma?
Oh? It's the Traveler and Paimon.
Wow, what a coincidence! Ayaka and I were just talking about you on the way here.
Buset, diomongin gak tuh?
We just ran into Xavier earlier and came over with him.
But I'm not an actress. Sir Kamisato and Lady Ayaka are the real actors here. I'm just tagging along with Ayaka to have a good time together.
Lah kocak cuma nebeng. Kirain pemeran utamanya aku loh.
About that, I mean, how was I supposed to contact you when I was making preparations for the film? I figured you were probably busy and
Lah kenapa nggak kasih tahu, gimana sih?
So I could only keep you in the back of my mind while I sought other actors to play the lead roles in the film.
I had been thinking about a surprise reunion with you during our trip here, but you still managed to surprise me first.
Buset, udah reuni aja.
Oh, so you
Padahal
all know
gua
each other
belum ke
already.
Inazuma.
My, what a coincidence. What are the chances everyone could be brought together here like this? Why don't we go to Hotel de Boer and catch up over a meal? I've already made a reservation.
Huh? Did you reserve 2 spots for
Malah
us here?
ngobrol di hotel lagi.
Yes, of course, of course. I'll be sure to tell the boss to serve a few more delicious dishes just to make sure there'll be enough food.
Very well. Then please, kindly lead the way, Mr. Xavier.
Sekarang kemana nih?
Wow, the buildings in Fontaine are so tall. Just look at how big they are. And there's the fountain that Abel mentioned earlier. It really is a magnificent sight. And look at that huge spinning sphere. Where does it get its power? Wait a sec.
Gua juga kadang agak bingung kenapa bisa berputar seperti itu ya. pergi ke lantai 2 hotel Depan. Dan karena videonya sudah cukup panjang, jadi gua akan mengakhiri cukup sampai sini dulu dan melanjutkannya di part selanjutnya. Terima kasih buat yang sudah nonton sampai sini, like dan juga komen. Gua harap kalian terhibur dan ketemu lagi di part selanjutnya.